everybody, I am Liz, and today I am going to talk about the books I finished in January. We have 5 books total that I finished. First up, we have Wool by Hugh Howey. This book has been basically raved by April Saran. Like, forever. She loves this series, and every time she talks about it, it makes me want to read it. And I've owned this copy for about 2 years now and finally dived into it in December. Wished I had finished in December, but didn't quite get there, and so now it's finished. And this book is about a post-apocalyptic dystopian America where the entire population lives in these underground silos because the outer air is acidic, toxic, will kill you within seconds. And the most horrific crime anybody can do in this society is basically wanting to go outside. If they try to go outside or mention that they want to go outside, they want out, they will get what they were asking for. This book starts off with the sheriff wanting out because a few years previous his wife decided to go out, and then now the current mayor has to find a new sheriff. And the story goes on, lots of things happen, there's a war and a lot of espionage, a lot of stuff happens, and it was so freaking good. I was turning the pages, just diving into the story more. There's 5 parts, so they're like little short stories, but that all kind of accumulate to the end and I loved it. Next, I read George by Alex Gino. It is such a cute middle grade story about a girl who doesn't look like a girl. George identifies as a little girl. She's in the 4th grade, and she believes her real name is Melissa, but she can't talk to her parents about this or her brother. She's really worried about how her friend Kelly will take it, and then the 4th grade play ends up being Charlotte's Web, and she wants to try out for Charlotte. It has so many heartbreaking little tidbits and pieces to it. It just broke my heart while simultaneously building it back up as people support her and continue to let her speak her truth. And I loved reading the author Q&A at the end. It talks all about how to speak to trans people, how to talk to non-binary people, as the author identifies as non-binary, and it was so good. Next, I read Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Khong. This book was one of my anticipated reads of 2018 as it is a new release debut story, and it slightly disappointed me. It was just not the format that I was really wanting for this type of story. It's about a woman named Ruth who recently broke up with her boyfriend, fiance of several years, and is now visiting her parents over Christmas holiday to kind of just hang out with her mom and help her mom with her dad, who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And this week stay turns into a year stay as she kind of figures out her life, deals with things, and also really just reconnects with her parents. And it was a really beautiful story. It was just not the writing format for me, as it takes place in kind of a diary entries where the main character is writing down, describing what she did each day, every day for the whole year. And it was just one of those telling, not showing stories. It was just not as in-depth as I really wanted for this story. Next, I read Swimming Lessons by Claire Fuller. This is another 2018 debut that I was so thrilled for. And this one did not disappoint. It was amazing. It's about this family who 10 years ago, their mom disappears, presumably drowns in the sea of the town in this small like UK city, but nobody ever found her body, so there's a lot of controversy, a lot of speculation whether she's actually deceased. And it dives into her story in the past through these letters that she left her husband before she disappeared, basically explaining why she left. And while this is all going on and you're reading these letters, you're also in the present with the two daughters and the husband and everything as they're dealing kind of with basically the husband's deathbed. And it's just this like interesting, thrilling mystery story, and I couldn't stop reading it. I sat down and just binge read this book because I needed to know. I needed to know if she was really dead, and I needed to know why she left, and I wanted to dive into this dynamic of this wife and husband. It was just so interesting, and I loved it so much. The last book I read in January was Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ning, and it was amazing. I can't believe I waited so long to read it, but I'm so glad I finally got to read it. This book takes place where Lydia, in the 1970s, small town of Ohio, disappears. And a few days later, she is found drowned, presumably in a lake. And so there's an investigation, and all this stuff is happening in this present 1970s town. This is a Chinese-American family. They're basically the only Chinese Americans in this town, so they feel very ostracized. And it goes back, like way back into the parents' past, the children's past, and how everybody's decisions just kind of builds upon each other and cascades into all of these circumstances and situations and issues to lead to this tragic event of this 16-year-old girl, Lydia's death. Like with all my reading wrap-ups, I finish with the book I am currently reading, which is The Female Man by Joanna Russ. This book was released several decades ago, I believe in 1968, 1970. Anyway, it's several years ago, so the writing is very weird and interesting, but it takes place with 4 women, each from very different backgrounds, and how they get together and things happen. One is Janine in an altered universe where the depression never ended. The second one is Janet, who is from an alternate reality where women are the sole population of the earth because a virus wiped out all men. Then there's Joanna, who is a feminist trying to navigate the masculine world. And last is Jael, who is kind of this warrior with like shark teeth, like crazy warrior. I'm not exactly sure where she enters the story, how she enters the story, because I haven't gotten there yet. But like it's very weird. I'm not sure if I like it currently. I'm about 50 pages in, and half the time I have no idea who's narrating the story. So it's confusing, but I'm not quite sure I want to put it down yet. I still want to read this and figure things out. So there we have the book I'm currently reading. Please tell me in the comments down below what was your favorite read of January and what book you're currently reading and your thoughts and feelings about those books. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and liking and subscribing this video if that is what you want to do, and I hope I see your guys' faces again soon.